So we're back with a third episode here. We're going to talk about the business side a little bit more because we were just saying this is such a big topic.
Yeah.
And our previous two episodes have been long and meandering and very philosophical. And I think we try, despite our best attempts, previous episode, we went down a very philosophical roller coaster. What we're going to try and do in this one, I think, is try to be as practically minded as we can.
Yeah.
I've got a few examples I would like to share, and perhaps you've got a few as well, that demonstrate some of these professionalization elements in action. Mm-hmm. We talked a little bit about project work last time, and we've talked in great detail previously about professionalization. I want to kick things off by sharing a story that happened to me recently that I think demonstrated really well a number of elements, including professionalization, in an industry that risks being chronically unprofessional. So we talked last time about this band I work with, where I was approached and they came to meet me and we negotiated a guaranteed fee, and it was very, very well done. We had a show just last weekend. It was a sellout show at a venue. We just sold hundreds of tickets. It was promoted and well advertised, and we'd sold it out. It was brilliant. So it was a win-win, and it was a couple of hours drive for me. So I would have had to leave at 2:30 in the afternoon to arrive at the venue for just after 4 for a load in and a sound check at 5, and then a performance at I think 7:30.
Right.
And at about 1:45 in the afternoon, the band leader contacted me and said, "Stand by, the guitarist is poorly."
Yeah.
I've just had this ominous message from him. Half an hour later, 40 minutes later, literally about 10 minutes before I was due to get in the car and drive, he called me, the band leader, and he said, "Don't go. Unfortunately, he can't do it. He's very, very poorly." And he sounds like he was bedridden, very poor, vomiting and, severe fever, caught a nasty flu by the sound of it, and a tummy bug, and was very, very poorly for a few days. Whatever the case, he couldn't do it. And it was mere minutes before I was due to arrive at the venue or drive to the venue, and mere hours before we were due to perform to a sellout crowd. So obviously every band leader's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
So he took the step, the band leader, after he'd called the band, what was left of us, what was left standing of us, and said, "Don't come, it's off." He went of his own accord up to the venue, which is about 50, 60 miles, an hour and a bit's drive for him to the venue, in person, explained in person to the management what was going on, bought a round of drinks for everybody involved, who was all the sound crew, the helpers that were there to set up and load in, the venue owners, the promoters, everything, got bought a round of drinks. And then he stayed on the door with them all evening to personally apologise and turn away anybody that turned up who didn't get the frantic social media messages and contact saying it's off, because it was such a last minute thing. And I thought this was such a brilliant way to handle what is a really difficult situation. And it transpired that because of that, he won the support and sympathy of the crowd, and all of the tickets have been transferred to a rebooked show in January in a few weeks' time with goodwill. And I'm only saying this because I think it's a great example of a professional attitude. Mm-hmm. It would have been all too easy for him, I think, to shrug and say sorry down the phone, "It's not going to happen, see you next time," and cut off any hope of goodwill or future interactions with that venue and those promoters and things like that, and instead salvaged it as best as he could because of a professional attitude of, well, this is not good enough because this is our job. This is our service, this is our product, and we've let you down. So I'm going to go out of my way and do everything I can to. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's good practice,
which is easily overlooked, I think.
Yeah.
How many of us would have taken that step?
Not many.
Not many, I don't think. I'm not sure I would have thought to do that.
But you will now.
But I will now, right. And I think that demonstrates how much the mindset and the people-centric attitude counts.
It does, but you need. I think one of the big things I take away from all of our discussions is the need for people to go big picture. When a person, a person who is very good at their art form has invested an incredible amount of time in themselves.
Yeah.
And sometimes, not all the time, sometimes they become less aware of themselves and the impact they have on others.
Right.
Because it's all about me.
Become a bit blinkered.
Yeah. And I'm going to say that that's innocent.
It's not malice. It's not malicious.
No. It's just that's how it can come across.
Yeah.
And we've all done it.
Yes.
So what this band leader's done is not only thought about the reputation of the act, the title of the show, but also bad news travels, and it travels a lot more in it, and we tell far more people bad things than we do good things.
Yeah,
it's just how we're built.
Yeah.
So this band leader's thought about all the people that work on that show, whether it's 3 people, 10 people, it doesn't matter. You want to be able to go back to that venue probably once a year.
Mm-hmm.
So
this would have been their 17th time at that venue.
It's excellent relationship management.
Right. People-centric.
Networking, professionalism, call it whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's a human interaction, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Highly professional, and the outcome's the right outcome, because you've got the empathy or the sympathy of the paying public that's like, and yes, the person's ill, but also wasn't that nice.
Yeah, precisely. But surprised. He didn't have to do that, and he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that says far more than that's good business practice.
Which is kind of my point here. We're trying to promote that idea, aren't we?
Yeah.
Professionalization is the watchword that we've used from day one, from page one. And I think it's very easy to miss the practical applications of that. You talked about something, I think, in the previous episode when you were talking about the Rat Pack that you were involved with and how it had contracts.
Yeah.
I remember on my first album, all of the musicians I worked with were surprised that I had contracts.
Yeah.
But it made me look good. It made me look professional. It improved my image in their eyes.
Yeah. And yes, you want to be taken seriously.
And we make the point in one of the chapters that that's most easily done when you set that out from the beginning. I think you've said to me before, if I've arranged my lessons by text message and people turn up to my basement and there's my washing in the corner and suitcases packed up because that's where I store them, it's very difficult for me later to change to all communication is email based and everything's invoiced and everything. You can't change that. What did you call it? The psychological contract.
It's that, yeah.
And you're trying to change the terms.
Yeah. I can't meet you again.
Right. So how important it is to set your stall out right from the beginning with these professional attitudes.
It's vital, but the whole thing is unregulated, isn't it? It doesn't matter whether you're in the service industry for entertainment,
yep,
or teaching somebody, or trying to negotiate your work being exhibited.
Yeah,
there's no rule book, and our book tries to offer signpostings of things that might help, but because there's no rule book, there's no convention. There's no norm.
But I think that norm arises out of the inherent fact that business, even at the highest level, is person-based, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's people. This guy runs the most professional band I've ever been involved with.
Yeah.
Yet he's a friend, and we chat and joke like any other friends would.
Mm.
But there is a clear line where, okay, we're talking business now. I'll give you a small example of that. We were at the rehearsal for this doomed show, and I didn't know the times for the performance. I just assumed we were on at about 9:30, like we normally are. And he said, "Be there at 4:00, please." And I was hyped up because we'd just been rehearsing for 2 hours. So my blood was going, and I made some joke about, do we really need to be there that easy? We're going to be sitting. And he stopped me and he said, "Be there for 4:00, please." And suddenly there was that, right, we're on professional mode at the moment.
Yeah.
There's that delineating factor where he trusted me enough to speak straight to me, and I understood him enough to say, jokes have to stop for just a moment, because this is work, this is business, this is the job. But even at our most professional, we're still operating on a personal level.
But that's the I don't know if you're aware of the 7 habits of highly successful people.
I know of it.
Yeah, it is very good.
I might have one of them.
Yeah, which is no,
That first one.
that first one. Oh, that's the best one.
Yeah.
So one of my favourites is win-win.
Right.
That's just one of the habits. Like
Yeah.
if and you get there by, the other habits that are in there, for example. And this is not a sales pitch, but it resonated with me. I couldn't believe it when I found this. But like, start with the end in mind. Your exit strategy in any business relationship is vital, because that's all you're going to be remembered for.
Yeah.
How did you leave?
How did it end? Yeah.
Yeah, bad terms.
Yeah.
I don't want to be back.
Yeah. So I guess the point I'm making with this is that professionalization is quite often, if not always, social interaction done well.
Yes, and within agreeable parameters. So
Yeah.
I'll give you another example, and it's a really good one. Is seek to understand, then be understood.
Right.
How can I help you?
Yeah.
What do you need?
Yeah.
Well, this is what I can offer you.
Yeah.
Do we have an accord? Great, we're in business.
Yeah. I think of the times when students call me for an initial chat, and it's very professional, yet we can laugh.
Yeah.
We can laugh and make small talk about weather and things like that, because it is a personal interaction about a professional subject.
Yeah.
There is the assumption that it is a professional interaction because money's going to change hands. They're going to buy something of mine, or they're going to pay for my time. But they're not going to do that if they don't like me, if they don't like the sound of me, if they don't trust the things I'm saying. If I'm too formal and I'm stiff and I'm all clearly money driven, well, pay this first and then we'll talk. That's not just bad business, but it's bad socializing.
Yeah, and again, yes, you need to. The best business, the money's irrelevant, because of course we all have to earn money.
Yeah, there's an assumption that money will flow, isn't there?
Yeah. I think, again, starting with the end in mind. I mean, for those out there that are teaching, you'll find this. They will all find this really difficult, but I really advocate it. Your notice period for, rearrangements or complete, like cessation of lessons.
Yeah.
Start with the end in mind.
Yeah.
Deal with it at the beginning. Have your charter.
Yeah, because every student will move on, won't they?
They'll all leave.
Yeah.
There was a really good friend of mine based in California. He said to me, I will never forget this. He said to me, every teacher will leave, every student will leave.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to market. That's why you need your marketing.
Yeah.
And again, bringing it around to previous episodes when you're talking about business and professionalism, again, the win-win. If you want to work with me at my business, two real key words with me, mine.
Yeah.
It's my vision.
Yeah.
Because it's my risk.
Yeah.
And I'm the one accountable. So if you want to work with me, they're the rules of engagement.
Yeah, that's the contract.
Yeah.
They're the terms.
That's the psychological contract. That's the actual contract. That's
the literal contract.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Equally, and I think you and I are really, if I say so myself, I think you and I are excellent examples of this, because you've engaged with me on those terms, and I've engaged with you on completely different terms to write this book.
Yeah, yeah. Segmented, aren't they?
Yeah,
yeah.
But the professionalism required that says, well, when I work with you on this project, you're the publisher. Yeah,
there's a reciprocal acknowledgement of the roles, isn't there? You were talking about your salute in the previous episode.
Yeah.
There's an acknowledgement of not of status or superiority, but there's an acknowledgement of the publisher-editor role. There's an acknowledgement of the writer and researcher role.
I think we should explore that, though. You know, the hierarchy. There's always a paymaster in a relationship.
There is, but I mean, you and I are a good example here because we are longtime friends, and when we go out socially, we always have a good laugh. And when we had meetings that were specifically for the point of the book, we met on social terms and we had a good chat and we had a good laugh. But there was also that mutual acknowledgement that we are here for a reason and we need to prioritize that reason. So, you know, we were both there on a schedule.
Yeah.
We checked into the meeting and we went to dedicated meeting areas and we had our notepads and our laptops and we ran through an agenda and we solved issues. And again, I think that's a perfect example of professionalism in action on a very sociable level, because you and I wouldn't work together if we didn't get on.
No, and that's all indicative of the creative. You know, there's been countless. You'll have them. Everyone will have them. Countless episodes in our lives where we've fallen out with people through misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Because the contract's not right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a piece of paper written down.
Yeah.
It's the understanding of the relationship. Yeah. It's not right. And if it's not win-win and the scales are woefully in favour of the other party, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
And you're not going to feel like a creative or an independent or even on a simpler level. You're not going to feel valued if you're undermined all the time and not treated fairly. Equally, you've got to have the strength of character and the strength of the relationship to be able to turn around and say, I disagree with that.
Yeah.
And here's why.
Yeah.
And if you haven't got that, then you're not on stable ground anyway.
No. And I think that expands to being able to say no as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's one of the smallest words in our language and it's one of the hardest to say.
Yeah, hardest to say.
And also, no without reason.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Exactly. Yeah. Another example comes to mind linked to the band that offered me the festival that I turned down. I think I talked about it an episode or two ago. It was a decision I made on a professional level. But on a personal level, I was having difficulties with that particular band leader. And he had become very cross with me because there was a misunderstanding of the relationship, which is exactly what you're talking about, I believe. In his eyes, I had joined his band and he expected me to do it a certain way.
Yeah.
And attend as many rehearsals as it took and learn in the way he wanted me to learn and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
In my eyes, I was being contracted as a performer for shows, and how I prepared for those shows was not really his concern because it was a one-time fee type thing. Whoever was right or wrong, there was no meeting in the middle.
Yeah.
And he became very cross because he felt he was paying me for one thing and I felt I was being paid for another.
Yeah.
And there was some overlap there, but not much. So when he got cross with me, his argument was basically, what am I paying you for?
Yeah.
Now, this may not paint me in a very good light, but it was just the reality of the situation. There was a breakdown in communication. He thought he was buying one service and I thought I was selling a different service, and they didn't quite line up. So he parted ways with me, which is a polite way of saying he sacked me. And that was fine. I mean, I'm okay with that. But after that, he kept contacting me with different gigs and jobs and personal invitations, like, do you want to grab a drink, or do you want to go for a meal or something? And this really confused me, because from my perspective, well, you've sacked me. What are you still contacting me for? Why are you offering me this other job when we've so clearly shown we can't work together on social terms? And I don't think we had met on sociable terms. It was a purely business-based transaction trying to be shoehorned into a social situation that wasn't right. We weren't friends.
Yeah.
And despite efforts, we hadn't become friends. And therefore, the business became untenable. Do you see what I mean? And it made every subsequent interaction, I was reading the messages coming through going, well, is this professional or is this personal? That line has now vanished, and I'm not sure what I'm reading, and I'm not sure why this is being put to me.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, in certain industries, it's less about the people and more about the process, systems and process.
Yeah.
And there are certain complex systems where that just has to be the case.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's what he was thinking. He had a system and a process in place.
Yeah.
And I was expected to follow that, but I wasn't following that. But it wasn't clear to me that was the process to be followed.
No, and that's where bringing it right the way back round is that unless there's time invested or getting to know each other, the ultimate form of communication is called peak rapport.
Right.
Where you don't even need to speak. You know what the other person's thinking.
Yeah.
That requires time,
trust,
and trust.
Yeah.
And if you're not in that zone, and you know, so that's why being in a band works, because I just felt it. That's where peak rapport.
Yeah. So you said it earlier about people who want to buy into your art. There's a fee for that.
Yeah.
People who need it for free can access things for free. But if someone wants to buy an hour of your time for a lesson or whatnot, there's a fee to pay to buy into your world and your time and all the things we've talked about. This example I just talked about, I think it was the reverse of that, because it was his project, it was his dream, it was his art, it was his musical vision. And he wanted to buy me into that. It wasn't me trying to get involved. It wasn't me saying, hey, look, please, can I come and play with you? It was him saying, this was where the problem was. I thought it was him saying, this is the job. What he was actually saying is, this is the vision that I want you to be a part of. And I wasn't interested in somebody else's vision. I wasn't interested in his dream. I know this sounds really mercenary, but I wasn't interested in his musical ambitions.
No, and I get it, and I think that's where the mistakes that I've made trying to set up MLC. It's the same thing. People would. This isn't the case now, all right? So MLC is not.
It's a changed beast.
It's a changed beast.
Yeah.
But people would come and work for me because it might have felt easy.
Yeah.
Or seemed easy.
Yeah.
It's just easy.
Yeah.
Just come. But they didn't buy into my vision. And therefore it was going against everything I was trying to set up, i.e. Now it's a school. It has a vision. It has a published vision.
Yeah.
It's a statement.
Yeah.
This is why we're here.
Yeah.
This is our purpose. This is what we do. We didn't have that before. So you were all forgiven for not buying into it because it didn't exist. You know. And that's where the argument's like, I didn't even know what it was. I couldn't articulate it.
Yeah, and that's communication, isn't it? That's personal rapport.
It is. It is. I mean, of course it is. But it's an understanding of like any creative practitioner listening to this. Who are you? What are you doing? What are you selling?
But on top of that, why should I care? Because I've hired many session players over the years to work on my projects.
Yeah.
And I remember being upset after the first one when it became clear that they didn't care as much as I did.
Yeah.
But of course they didn't, because it's my vision, it's my dream. It's like
Yeah.
I was just talking about. And I thought I made exactly the same mistake that this chap did with me, or the same mistake was made, shall we say. I thought by paying these people a session fee, I was buying their loyalty to the vision, and they would put into it the same as I would put into it. And of course, the reality is that's not the case. To them, it was a job. So they need to know, when am I turning up? What am I playing? How much am I getting paid? I wanted input. I wanted X. I wanted Y. I wanted Z. And that didn't happen, but we still produced something decent. And on every project I've done subsequently, I have learned and become better at delineating the roles and communicating what's expected and what's covered in the fee and what's not.
Yeah, that's experience.
And it is experience, and it's vital, because I know now, and I'm perfectly okay with it, that nobody else cares about my artistic visions. They do care about getting paid for their jobs, as I do when it's someone else's work. So the last big project I did, I employed, I think, 4 percussionists to play on an ensemble recording I was doing. And I made it clear before we even agreed to anything, you will be expected to know your pieces by the time we turn up to record, right? So I said, there aren't any rehearsals. I don't care whether it takes you an hour or 10 months. As long as by accepting the role, by accepting the role, you are agreeing that by the time the studio date rolls around, you will be prepared. And that was made very clear from from day one.
Yeah.
Right. Hello, thank you for your interest. This is the role.
Yeah.
And it just made everything so much easier, because previously I'd been chasing people up saying, how are you feeling about this? Is this doable? And I was like, this time I have clarified what I want, and this is what you are being paid for. It is your responsibility. But from their perspective, that manifested itself as trust. They were professionals being hired to do a job, and I was trusting them to do that job. So when we got there and we met each other literally for the first time in the studio face to face. Hi, pleased to meet you. How are you feeling? Happy? Yeah, happy. Great. Let's go and do the job.
Yeah.
Easy. Because communication from day one had been clear on what roles and responsibilities were, which is a personal thing, a sociable thing, done in a very professional way.
Yeah.
But as you say, that's experience.
Because there are no conventions and norms.
Yeah.
You could, if you could argue, well, that's just how you treat people. That's life. Yeah, but again, it's all assumptive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Life doesn't work in that straightforward manner. It just doesn't. It never has.
No.
It never has.
No. It seems easy when you know it, right?
Yeah. Captain Hindsight.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is easier in the rear view mirror, but the trick is to flip that.
Yeah.
180 that and learn from it.
Yeah.
Bit of a life skill, bit of a life lesson.
Oh, absolutely.
I took the decision in 2015 that from just so talking about business, not the art.
Yeah.
Just the business. I couldn't do it on my own anymore.
Right.
So I started to sell shares in the business and bring people in.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not the sole owner anymore.
Right.
I have a team.
Yeah.
And that's tremendously helpful because they all come with different skills, different life experiences, very professional in their former roles, but on top of that, we had a mentor, professor of business, that would help us develop systems and processes that would help the business mature a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't It didn't want to be ad hoc anymore, but it was.
Yeah.
So that in it, and it started to become by design, and then it started to have a brand and brand guidelines and a purpose and vision and also a set of values.
Yeah.
This is what we believe. This is us.
Yeah.
These are our values. This isn't just what we do. This is what we believe in.
Yeah.
And it's all about it. All helps with the communication that you were speaking of. We're telling our story, even through the colours. Even all the imagery that when we tell our story, they're not stock images. That they're our students.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're our people.
Yeah.
That it's our tribe. All on purpose.
Yeah.
All because of the pain and the anguish
To get there.
Yeah. Because and as a creative, I work best when I collaborate.
Yeah.
So why am I in business on my own? Was the the conversation I was having with myself was there's only one. I can't achieve what I want to do on my own.
Did what you want to do change along the way then?
Yeah. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Because presumably when you set out at 18, was the goal to build a music school?
No, I was going to be a rock star.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. Because, well, for 4 million reasons, but there was no way of doing it.
I mean, it's not a sustainable career path, is it?
No, but there was no reality. Like, so for example, all these institutes that now exist where you can go and touch the dream, work in VR as an undergraduate, or all these creative institutions, they just didn't exist. I was from a council estate in Nottingham. Well, you dream on, in the positive, like have your dream. What you can do with that?
Yeah.
There was no route to market. There was nowhere. There wasn't even anywhere that would believe in you unless you've got support at home, which I did. Beyond that, there was nowhere to go where you did go. You come stick with us. You're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
So I was lucky along the way, and it was all relationship stuff. It was people stuff. I got lucky. Then. At a rate of knots, it became this thing MLC, and it was never meant to, and there it was. And then after the financial crash, I didn't like it. Took 3 years of not liking it before I was like, actually, I need to start bringing people in, and one became two became three became 4 owners. And it's a really lovely melting pot of ideas, because we have an executive, we have an advisory board, we have non-exec partners as well. Everyone gets to say, but everyone buys into the vision, and it's far more corporate than you might like. As an example, you might like it, you might be. Instinctively, that's not for me, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But what that means with those systems and processes is that the business can function without anyone being there.
Yeah.
Because it's roles and responsibilities, not people. And that just to clarify that. It's a people-centric business. We all love the people we're working with, and we invest all of our time, money in our people. But for the business to work, it needs to be a role and responsibility. Right. Because then you're not in a position that you've been in the past where it's like, it wasn't clear what I was doing. It wasn't clear about expectations.
Yeah.
This wasn't clear. That wasn't. No, all that's gone.
Yeah.
This is. Stay in lane, please. This is what you do.
So that's like formalising the idea then, isn't it? Standardising the approach to clear communication.
Yeah. But what we're not saying is this is what to teach and how to teach it.
Sure.
We
Yeah.
want the creative mind.
Yeah.
Because, as we said in previous episodes, people are not standard, nor is their education, or should it be. And as we've spoken about in these 3 very, feature-length episodes, there's no standard route to market, and there's no standard business.
So there is no one thing any book or podcast can say other than business is a truly personal endeavor, and it will be individual on an individual basis. But there will be conventions and expectations along the way.
Yeah, and even if you are a sole trader, and you will feel alone at times, you are not alone, and you're not alone with the growing pains.
Yeah, there'll be plenty of those.
Yeah, but it is worth doing. It is a worthwhile pursuit. The human endeavour of creating art, the human endeavour of bettering yourself through self-learning, the whole endeavour is worthwhile. And if you're feeling in your bones that you want to do it, you must go and do it.
Yeah, we've talked about it in the past. You have to love it, and you have to be mad, because you'd be crazy to do this if you didn't love it.
Yeah, and if you want to have a go, please have a go. Please have a go. Don't wake up one day full of regret.
Yeah.
If only I had.
Yeah.
Just do it. Enjoy it.
And all of the pain that we've talked about, all the heartache and difficult things, that's why you put up with those, isn't it? Because it's worth it to be able to actualize your art form.
And again, for the listener out there, you and I have a plan, even with the flow of these. In all the episodes thus far, we've purposefully kept it conversational. We've spoken about the pains.
Yeah.
But there are many gains.
Yeah.
And what, in future episodes, it will be, much more signposting, but it's really important it's really important. It was really important for us that our listeners and readers understand that this is not an academic textbook per se. We are in this, and we love being in this.
Yeah.
But it comes at a cost.
Yeah.
And it's not just a financial cost or a time cost.
No.
But the rewards far outweigh them.
Absolutely. That's why we're all still here.
Exactly.
Well, Paul, thank you.
Thanks, Johnny.
The Creative Practitioner is out now, physically, digitally, and on Kindle worldwide. So check it out if you're interested. 3 feature-length meandering episodes on the nature of business, but I think they have to be. There's no easy solution, is there?
No.
We'll try again next time.
Okay.
See you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.